Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Bad Luck Gamer, and I haven't done any archetype content in over a month, which is pretty crazy considering that is pretty much what my channel is been a lot about. Not all about, but a lot of my videos are archetype videos. There's so many archetypes in Pathfinder's second edition. This video is just going to be a short little catch up since the Rage of Elements book added a bit more to the Elementalist class archetype. So this video is just kind of going to be attached to that video. No need to worry. This isn't a whole new rework. So if you're watching this one, please go watch the first video as it pretty much covers everything. Only a few things are just being added by this one. So they're meant to be kind of watched together. Speaking of, so one of the biggest things that changed with Rage of Elements is elements are done in a different way now. They have what you call a elemental philosophy. The elemental philosophy, I think this is a dumb change, honestly. I think they should have just added the other elements to the game rather than this. Like, I understand it's kind of like a part of the cosmology stuff, and there is this aspect in the world, but for the archetype, it's very dumb because what happens, right, is you pick an elemental philosophy along with the other features depending on whatever class you are qualifying the elementalist for. Now, elemental or inner sea elementalism is the old one. You get air, earth, fire, water. The elemental cycle is earth, fire, metal, water, wood. So, why on earth would you select the inner sea elementalism when elemental cycle gives you all the elements but air, and you can get air using one of the new feats that they added into the game? It just doesn't make any sense. It's a very poor game design choice. Now, on top of this, if you're like an air-based druid or something, that would be the reason to do so, I guess. But if that's the case, then you're going to have to spend additional feats to catch up to the elemental cycle. It's just really dumb. I don't like it. I think this was a very bad choice for the elementalist. But this is it. This is what you get when you get into the elemental philosophy. And yeah, I think it's dumb. I wish they had done something differently or at least made it more even, but oh well. Oh, right, and I also forgot to mention as well. So another big thing with the elemental philosophy is that you can't when you get a new spell list when you go into elementalists, as the prior video said. The problem with that is you can't use spells from that spell list unless it has the elemental trait that you're attuned to based on your elemental philosophy. So, if you're picking Inner Sea Elementalism, you can't use any of the new wood or metal spells added to the spell list. Simultaneously, if you pick Elemental Cycle, you can't pick any air-based spells, which is a lot of the electric-based ones, which are some of the funnest ones in my opinion. It is a mess, and I think it's just not a great way of doing this. Honestly, if I was the GM and you were playing this class or this archetype, I would just let you, I wouldn't even worry about it. Honestly, I think it's kind of dumb. But anyway, I just want to mention that the element of philosophy, mechanically and rules as written, does play a part in what spells you have access to. Alright, so a level 6 feat that was added is Expand Elemental Magic, and this again plays into the philosophies as I mentioned before. So essentially what you do is you add to your elemental philosophy any of the following elements it doesn't already have, which is dumb that they would put all the elements here because the only ones missing from the elemental cycle is air, and the only one missing from the the inner sea elementalism, there you go, is water and wood. Earth, fire, water will never be on the elemental philosophy. So yeah, this is a feat that lets you gain access to other spells, more or less. It's a feat choice that punishes you if you picked the inner sea elementalism, because you actually have to take this feat twice to add them. Oh no, it's just no, I'm sorry, my bad. You don't have to take it twice. You only have to take it once for each, which is fine, I guess. But it's a feat that pretty much punishes you for whatever choice you made. Because if you want to get all the elemental spells, to be an elementalist, you have to take this feat. Very silly. I would just give the player this. But this is rules as written, and yeah. So if you like the idea of the elemental philosophies and working that into a character idea, then this can be a good idea. I mean, there's a lot of narrative that can come from that, of course. I just don't like it from a mechanical standpoint. So don't take a lot of my naysaying as being overly directed, as it were. All right, next up is the Reverberating Spell over here. The Reverberating Spell is the new... So a lot of what Elementalist is, if you haven't watched a prior video yet, is you add a meta magic, or in this case, spell shape for the new remaster, to the spell you're casting to give it the effects of an element. So, Reverberating Spell is really cool. Your spell gains like a loud, clanging, metallic sound. So, whenever you cast a non-cantrip spell that deals damage in an area, such as a burst, line, or cone, the spell deals an additional d8 sonic damage, and all creatures who fail their save against the spell are deafened for a round. Targets who critically fail the save are instead deafened for a minute, and the spell gains the sonic trait. Overall, the reason why I like Reverberating Spell is it just adds damage. That's it. It adds an additional d8 damage. Sonic damage is also really good. Not many creatures resist sonic damage, and there's some creatures specifically that are vulnerable to sonic damage, thus making it a very good add-on if you're facing off against those creatures. But if anything, because it's a d8 sonic on an area spell, it is a really good spell because it adds a bunch of damage to the spell's damage. It's just a really good spell overall, and a really good, spell shape overall that can make even a fireball do even more damage than it already does, which is pretty cool. All right, just below that is the growth spell here, another spell shape for wood this time. So when you use the growth spell, it can be on any non-cantrip spell that affects an area similar to the metal one. You expand the area of the spell. For instance, bursts expand by a radius of 5 feet, cones expand by 10 feet, and lines expand their length by 15 feet. This is just the widen spell version of for Elementalist. So, the fact that you get widened spell in this way at level 10 is a little nonsensical in my eyes. But if you're playing a class that doesn't get access to widened spell, which I don't think Druid does, maybe they do, I'm not 100% sure on that, then this is a pretty solid pickup. And if you're using free archetype, this allows you to pick up Widen Spell essentially as a free archetype. All right, and that's going to be it for what was added in Rage of Elements. So hopefully this helped expand a little bit. Not a lot, honestly, changed. Just some of the terminology. The philosophies is a kind of bad change in my eyes, but I do absolutely love the new spell shapes that were added to the Elementalist. And that's kind of the thing about the Elementalist. You're not picking it for the feats. You're picking it for the spell list, the Elementalist spell list. And a lot of these feats are really good for expanding those spells. So I do like the Elementalist a lot, and I don't think this is going to change my overall rating on the Elementalist as far as my tier list is concerned, but I do at least like the fact that the Elementalist spell list actually got a pretty big buff, considering that now all wood and metal spells were also added to it, which makes it a pretty good size spell list, if I'm not lying here. Anyway, that's going to be it for me. Thank you all so much for watching. Good luck with your games. Leave the bad luck to me, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.